English 121, Day 24, Evidence, from the Allen and Bacon Guide, pages 339 to 43 and 473. As you may already know, evidence is the foundation of a strong academic argument. Evidence comprises facts, examples, summaries of research, statistics, expert testimony, or other relevant data that will persuade readers to accept a writer's claims. Remember our argument structure: the thesis, the reasons, and the evidence. The evidence is the only factual information in the argument, and it is the part that you would have left out of a summary of someone else's argument. Inside the argument, each reason, as well as any unstated assumptions that are stated explicitly and defended, needs to be supported by either sub-arguments or directly by evidence. Let's talk now about some various types of evidence that you might use in your argumentative writing. First of all, the most common type of evidence is factual data. This provides persuasive support for arguments from credible sources. You can also use less numerical data that is in the form of examples. These can be specific from personal experience or hypothetical scenarios to illustrate an issue or hypothesize about the consequences of an event. You might also want to include a summary of some research findings. This is a common way to support an argument that takes a larger research study and condenses it in order to incorporate it as support for the argument. You also might encounter expert testimony. This is quoting an expert directly or paraphrasing an expert's argument. Also consider the use of statistics, which provides numerical persuasive support for arguments. Finally, you might try to develop a sub-argument, which are typically used in sequences to develop a persuasive analogy, hypothesize about consequences, or simply advance an argument through a chain of connected points rather than direct empirical evidence. No matter what type of evidence you use, make sure that you are adhering to what rhetorician Richard Fulkerson calls the STAR criteria. There are 4 criteria in the STAR method. First of all, address the sufficiency of your evidence. Basically, this means, is there enough evidence? Have you compiled enough data or a sufficient amount of data to prove your point, or do you need to find more evidence to convince your readers? Also, make sure that your evidence is typical, that the chosen data are representative of a larger group. Don't stereotype or overgeneralize, otherwise you will be conducting an informal fallacy. Make sure that your evidence is accurate. Along with that, make sure the evidence is up to date. Some of the information you find online or in various sources might not even be factual. In this case, is it really possible that the sum of this responses to this survey would add up to, in this case, 120%. Finally, make sure that the evidence that you're including is actually relevant to the point that you're trying to prove or the overall claim. Okay? Don't cite erroneous information, otherwise you will be conducting a red herring fallacy or a diversionary tactic. As long as you make sure that your evidence meet the STAR criteria, your claims will be well supported. But in order to find evidence that meets the STAR criteria, you'll need to qualify your claims. A strong claim is a claim that allows little room for exceptions. A qualified claim, on the other hand, requires less rigorous evidence because it leaves rooms for exceptions. You would never be able to prove that a phenomenon occurs always in every single case. So you want to soften or qualify your claim so that you don't need as much evidence to prove it. In general, as you gather evidence, also consider the source to be sure that the data you are using are reliable and will contribute to your ethos as a writer. Successfully incorporating evidence into your arguments will make you as persuasive as possible.